give your heart and soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it yet. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody and welcome to Taff's Words. Today we're going to be talking mainly about the squad, what we're going to have for next season, and just picking up on a few extra little bits and pieces in between. So the squad is starting to really take shape. We haven't made the most of the loan market yet. I know there's a lot of talk about Max Watlers, for example, who's now at MK Dons on loan. So like I say, there's still some surprises to come, let's say. Maybe we're not even done with the permanent signings, but we put a pretty decent squad together with what we've got right now. And my feeling is that there's going to be some kind of a change in the system, in the attacking system mainly, because, we seem to be signing some pacey wing-type players, and that just makes me think that maybe we're going to be reverting potentially to either a 5-2-3, or what would you call a 3-5-2, or no, 3 up front, sorry, so a 3-4-3 type thing, or what I think is going to be a 4-3-3, which for me, when we go through the squad of players that we've got, we'll sort of look at what kind of role they could take in that. I mean, we haven't seen any significant friendlies yet. I'd imagine chipping them away next week is going to be the one where we'll start to actually see what kind of system Flynn has got in store for us next season. But the signings that he's making, for me, is to some fans on the old county chat, some in particular, I don't think I really need to name names there. They're referring to the signings as underwhelming. Personally, I think they're quite, well, if you're looking for a particular system, if you're looking for promotion at least, you've got some players there that fit the criteria, let's say. So let's just go through the squad first of all then, right? So the familiar faces, so I've split these up into 3 categories. You've got the familiar faces, the youth players, and then the new players. So familiar faces, so the first one I'm going to mention, I'm going to highlight is Joe Day. Although he's a new signing, he's a familiar face because he's played for us before. I've highlighted him because I want to talk about him. I think his signing alone will win us a few extra points. Joe Day in our goal last season possibly could have seen us get promoted automatically, because he's the kind of keeper that can make the kind of point-blank reflex saves that we would need to prevent some goals from going in. I believe King and Townsend led a few, especially sort of from distance, get past them, whereas I think Joe Day may have saved some of them. And I certainly think Joe Day would have saved a few others. I mean, if we go digging into individual goals, we're going to be at all pissing night. So I think Joe Day is a massive upgrade in keeper, although I rate both Townsend and King as League 2 goalkeepers. I think Joe Day is a League 1 class goalkeeper playing in goal for us, so he's going to be one of the top keepers in the division for next season. So obviously we've got Nick Townsend as well. Mickey Dimitriou, massive signing. Priestley Farquharson is going to come on, I think, a bit more next season. Ryan Haynes, he's phenomenal going forward for me. If we are looking at full-backs, he's good enough at defending as well. Aaron Lewis, again, can play either full-back, so it could be that we've got a right-back and a left-back, and Aaron Lewis is going to jump between either one, or one of them being on the bench, Aaron Lewis starting either side. There's going to be a bit of a rotation between the full-backs between those 3, and that's without even making any loan signings, which we may see come along. Matty Dolan, now I feel as though Matty may revert back to midfield if we are going with the system that I think we're going to go with, because personally I think we're going to have too many defenders for Matt to be in contention, and we all know how good of a player Matt is and how much of a danger he is to the opposition on set pieces. So for me, I think we've got to look at Matty Dolan potentially being in the sort of deep line playmaker role for next season. Scotty Bennett again would be, I think there would be a rotation between him and Matty in that defensive midfielder slot. I think Scott Bennett would be more of a defensive midfielder rather than a playmaking midfielder, like a quarterback type, what Matty would be. I think there could be rotation between them two, and Scott, as you know, or Matty as well, could fit in at the back 4. But I think Matty fit well as a back 3 because where he defended well, I felt as though his main role was distributing the ball forward. Whereas I don't think he'd have much. I think there'd be too much defending for him to do if we were playing a back four. Lewis Collins, as we know, very excited about him. If we are looking at a 4-3-3, I believe he would be looking at playing one of the wing roles, maybe. But then we have signed quite a lot of wingers, so it could be that Flinney sees him as his number 9. We'll see. Dom Telford, my feeling is that we're going to look for a loan club for him. He didn't impress last season and fell out of favour, completely out of favour. So unless he's doing something in training to show Flinney that he's capable of coming on next season and scoring some goals, I could see him being loaned out to free up some extra funds. Podrick Hammond, of course. Now, Podge, I mean, it looks as though he's dipped a bit, but you do dip in age when you get into your 30s. But who knows, after a really good pre-season, he could come back fighting for a strong season. You never know. I really hope that's going to be the case, though. I really do. And obviously re-signing Robbie, hopefully to be playing as a winger, not as a central midfielder. Because even though Flinney mentioned his versatility in his signing interview, I don't think we should be exploiting any kind of potential versatility because we don't really believe as fans that the versatility is there. Robbie Wilmot, for me, is an excellent winger or an excellent forward for that matter. So I think playing him in a wing-back role would be wrong, and I think playing him in a central midfield role would be wrong. He has to play wing if he's going to play. So within the youth, then, we've signed 3 new professional contracts to 3 youth players, which is great to see. Every season we see any new youth players coming in. It's amazing. So Joe Woodowis to fill in at the defence. Again, there's a lot of competition for defensive spots, which makes me believe Matty will be used as a midfielder next year, because we are light on midfielders if he is a defender for next year. Ryan Hillier, I believe, is a forward. So he's been in the frame for quite a while. I'm glad to see him finally get his pro contract now. And I'd really like to see what he can bring to the first team next year. And then obviously Lewis Twomley, who I've highlighted as one of our stars from the youth programme last season. Now Lewis has been banging goals in left, right and centre. What kind of role he could potentially play for us next season? Well, that's down to Flinney. Would he play as a winger? Would he play as... I think wing is his main position, but playing as a forward winger or an inside forward could be the way to use him. So I'm really excited to see what Lewis Twomley brings into the fold for next season. Now, on to the new signings. So we've made, it's 7 new signings if you don't include Joe Day. So it's 8 new players technically, but 7 fresh faces, brand new signings. So we've got Cameron Norman, James Clark, Ed Upson, Christopher Missaloo, Courtney Senior, Courtney Baker Richardson, and Jermaine Hilton. Now, I'm going to go through a little bit of a bio of them all now. So we've got Cameron Norman, who's a 6'2" defender, 25 years of age, which is a really good age for League 2. So he came through at Norwich, played for Concord Rangers, Kings Lynn, before getting a Football League move to Oxford. Didn't do an awful lot there, but he went on to Walsall, and in the last 2 years making 62 appearances. Walsall fans have given us some good reviews of him, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Cameron Norman brings to the fold next season. I feel as though right full back is going to be his position within the potential 4-3-3 that I've discussed. James Clark. Now, you put James Clark and Mickey Dimitri together in a back four, that is solid. James Clark, I've always been really impressed with him whenever I've seen him play. Oxford United, Oxford City, Salisbury, Woking, before going to Bristol Rovers and then ending up at Walsall. So he's got real pedigree. He's got real experience in League 1, League 2. So I'm really looking forward to seeing James Clark at the back for us. I think he'll be solid with Mickey. And as long as we've got the right players at full back then and a proper goalkeeper like Joe Day, we can sacrifice a defender for a forward to play a more attacking, positive, focused game. One of the ones I've highlighted 3 players within our signings to highlight the fact that where I've mentioned that we're signing players with promotion quality. Ed Upson, 31 years of age. He's a 6'0" midfielder with a lot of League 1 experience. So he came through at Ipswich before joining Yeovil, and this was Yeovil's time in League 1 battling to get into the Championship, as we'll remember they did. He's also played for Millwall, MK Dons and Bristol Rovers. So a lot of his career, he spent in League 1. So I'm really pleased to see him join us in League 2 because he will add that extra bit of quality that we need. to push on next season. 94 appearances for Bristol Rovers in League One in the last few years. You can't knock that, really. Christopher Missaloo. Now, I hadn't really heard of him, but he has played plenty of times between Oldham, Northampton and Swindon. Most recently, 11 appearances last season for Swindon. Oldham, 72 appearances in a few years. Came through at Hawks there and played for various French clubs in below League One. But he's 28 years old, 5'11" midfielder. And like I say, Oldham, he would have played for Oldham League One, League Two. He would have also played Northampton and Swindon in League One. So for me, to be signed by League One clubs, he's got to have League One quality. So in League Two, I think he'll fit well in our midfield. Courtney Senior. Now, I'm really excited about this one. Now, Courtney Senior for me has always impressed me whenever he's played against us. Now, Colchester fans are running him down a little bit, but you're not exactly gonna sing the praises of players who didn't stay with you and sign for somebody else, or if they feel as though he didn't really put a real shift in for them. He'll come to us and hopefully we'll bring better out of him, because I say it hasn't been I say last season wasn't great for Colchester. The season before I felt he had a good season for them, when they made it to the playoffs. But he's a 5'9" winger. Came through at Brentford, brief loan spell at Wickham before going to Colchester, where he's played 124 times. That'd be funny. We don't play 124 times for a club and not be good enough for them. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe they want to change things up a little bit. Fair play to them. So Courtney Senior, like I say, he's always impressed me whenever he's played against us, and he's only 24. So yeah, I'm really happy with that one personally. But that's not one of the highlighted ones. Christopher Missaloo and Ed Upson with the League One experience, they're the two highlighted ones for me, because they're filling in at our midfield, which is where we've now become really light after losing the likes of Sheehan and Labadi. So I think that's two really good signings to replace them two, with loan signings to come as well. Who knows? Who knows who else might come in? So Courtney Baker Richardson. Now, here's a signing with a bit of promise. He's a player with a lot of potential, but hasn't really seen that potential through yet. A bit like Tristan Abrahams, for example. So Courtney Baker Richardson came through at Coventry, didn't really make it through there. Played for various non-league clubs before Swansea took a punt on him. Didn't really do it there, and spent a season out on loan at Barnet after joining Barrow. It looks as though he hasn't really hit any real heights. So I'm hoping, as part of a club like ours, having a manager like Flinney will bring something better out of him. And he's a 6'2" striker as well. So we're talking about someone who's going to play potentially in the middle, or if he has got a bit of pace about him, we could put him out on the wing. But 6'2", yeah, I think he's going to be a central striker for us. And hopefully he will find some goal scoring form if we've got the right attacking play. I mean, if we play like we did last year, but with more emphasis on attack, we could well win a lot more games, and he could be there to put the goals in, as long as he got the confidence to do it. So a good pre-season would help him. Jermaine Hilton then, who is a winger, I know he's a winger. He's a forward/winger. In his earlier days he was a central forward, pushed out onto the wing during his days in Scotland. So he's 5'9", 28 years old, so still got some time left in him. And I've highlighted him as having the SPL experience. Scottish Premier League players, if they come to the likes of League Two, they generally tend to do well, especially forwards. I mean, Jake Jervis is going to be a good sort of example, after him firing the goals that get Plymouth promoted a few years back. So he came through at Redditch, where he scored 45 goals in 54 appearances. Don't matter who you're playing for, if you're playing at a relatively good level and you're finding the net, it means you know how to find it. You've got to come up against better defenders, but if he's played for as long as he have in the SPL, I think he's got the right quality, and he certainly will fit in well with us in League Two. I'd like to think. So there you go. I mean, that's where we are right now. We've got a squad. We've got a really good-looking squad as it is already. There's still time for new signings. There's still plenty of time to explore the loan market. Now, I've heard something about Flinney saying that from now on, we won't sign loan signings unless we can take them for the season and have the no recall clause in there. Because to be honest with you, that's what cocked us up last year, is that recall after the end of the 6 months for Swansea and for Swindon, for Brandon Cooper and Scott Twine respectively. That's what messed our season up, because they were our two best players in the early part of the season and we lost them. And any team losing your two best players in the middle of the season are gonna fall flat. I mean, some fans don't realise that there are other clubs in League Two. It's not all about Newport County. For us, it is, but for League Two, it's not. So we got to understand. Sometimes we can just come up against people who are better than us, or certain things are going to affect us. You can't demand perfection every single game. We're in League Pissing 2. So for me now, we're putting a good squad together. There's going to be quite a lot of new players here because we have lost a few, so they're going to need some time to gel, which is why I'm glad we've signed them all before we started our pre-season training, because they can integrate well, they can play together in pre-season and get familiar, so they're ready for the start of the season. It's going to be hard enough having to play our first, nearly 2 months worth of games away. That's going to be a nightmare for us, but it is what it is. We've worked through it before. We can certainly do it again. We certainly started a season 3 years ago when we had to do this really well, playing our games away, and it means more home games later down the line for us. It's good to get a run of home games together if we hit a bit of form. So one of the things people are mentioning about is that there's been no shout out about season tickets. Now, the club have made it clear that they're liaising with the Welsh Government regarding season tickets. And how many they can actually offer, how many people are allowed in the stadium. Now, as far as I'm concerned, from the 19th of July, if England are going to, no social distancing and no masks, that means that people can stand around each other again. So it looks as though football stadiums will be full to capacity again for the start of next season in England. I can't see any reason why that won't be the case for Wales, unless, the Welsh Government know something the rest of the world doesn't about this coronavirus. I mean, for me, if you look at the statistics, Wales are probably the most vaccinated of the 3 or the 4 parts of the United Kingdom. So why would we hold back when we're doing better than everybody else? It doesn't make any sense to me. But the Welsh Government will make their mind up, and hopefully it'll put us in a position where season tickets can be bought relatively soon, so we can start filling those coffers up again and start looking forward to seeing some football again. New home kit was released. Looking forward to the release of the away kit, of course, and if we are having a third kit, I'd imagine we will. We usually do. But I'm a fan of the home kit. Some people don't like it. I just don't get what's not to like about kits. A kit is a kit. As long as it's your colours, as long as it's not a stupid design, I don't get why someone look at a kit and think, no, I don't like that. I just don't get it. But it's out now. And there's one other thing I want to mention. There's one player in what I call limbo. Now you either got your players who are contracted, your players that you're getting rid of, and then you got the players in the middle, the ones who you're still talking to. Limbo. Now there's only one player left in limbo. The ones who've left have either joined new clubs or signed on with us for longer. There's only one player left, and that's Kevin Ellison. Personally, I would love for him to stay. He may not be in a position where he'll play a real part in what we do going forward on the pitch, but what I love is to sign him as like a player coach. To be there to fill in for if something happens and we're short of players, and go for a bit of an injury crisis and we're going to need someone to, he's still a class act. You've seen his goal against Forest Green. He's had a decent season for us, considering what how very little he contributed with minutes on the pitch. So for me, I think if we sign Kevin Ellison on, just for his presence, because anyone who I spoke to involved with the club always raved about how much of a great guy he is to have around, and how much he lifts everybody's spirits. Who knows that he may have made such a difference last season in making us better, because I say with football, I'd say not all of it is in the legs, a lot of it is up there, and if you're happy, you're going to play better. It's just it's just a matter of, that's life for you, if you're happy, you do things better, you're in a more positive state of mind. And if Kevin Ellison is the kind of person having around, putting everybody into that positive state of mind, personally, I think it's more than worth, harnessing at least on his experience, if not just that, because he's been around the block. He's played in League Two for a long time, and he contributed when he needed to last season with goals, important ones as well, like the Forest Green goal, like the winner against Port Vale earlier in the season. It's definitely worth keeping the guy around. So I hope something gets announced about him soon. But either way, I do really wish him the very best. Talk about going from foe to friend. you know, in just one season. You know, our outlook on Kevin Ellison has just completely and utterly changed, and it's great to see. Anyway, that's all I've got to go with for today. I know we haven't really done a lot of videos lately, but that's going to change in the coming weeks, and we got a few new ideas for some new content that's going to be coming out, and we got new people joining our team to help with that, so keep your eyes peeled for all that. And also, our TikTok page is starting to gain some momentum, so please feel free to make sure you're following us on there, because I think we need 10,000 followers to monetize our TikTok channel, very much like we got with this channel now. And as soon as we get to that, yeah, we can monetize and make money for the Amber Army group, which is indirectly making money for the club. So there we go. Thanks all for watching. Cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.